Hey, what's up? My name is Morxeton. I want to do something a little bit different and kind of demonstrate how I write music. And I recently hit 50 subscribers, so I'm going to consider this kind of like a 50 subscriber special. And I've been putting some original music up on my channel recently, and some of you guys have been curious to know how I actually put it all together, so I want to kind of demonstrate that. This software is called Sonar Platinum, so it's the Platinum edition. They have like 3 or 4 different editions. This is the highest edition possible. It's by a company called Cakewalk, and it's just awesome software. I've been using Cakewalk Sonar for a while now, probably since 2007, I believe, and it's just I love their software. It's great. So I'm going to create a new project based off of templates that I've created. This is my default template. I have a bunch of templates. I need to clean these up. I'm just going to name it whatever. Temp is fine. I don't care. And I'm going to try to be as brief as possible, kind of explaining the different synths and the ideas of how I piece this stuff together, just so I can really show you the meat of it. And here is all my tracks. You can see here for my rhythm guitars, I have this in a folder, and there are 4 MIDI tracks, and then there are 4 associated audio outputs with those MIDI tracks. And then I also use the same for my drums down here. Same setup. The audio and the MIDI tracks are separated. These two are combination audio and MIDI tracks. This is the bass guitar, and this is a common synth that I use. So I want to actually pop open the synths here. This is Contact by a company called Native Instruments. And the synth that I'm using for my guitars is called Electricity by Ver2 Instruments that plugs into Contact. And there are just a ton of options in here. You can see here's the fretboard view and the articulation mode it's in. Muted sustain, that's the common mode that I use for my rhythm guitars. And this is some settings here. You can see here guitar pickups and tones and volumes and whatnot. That's the current values of each of those settings. You hit this and then you can see here's the associated MIDI controller for controlling those values. And there's some more settings in here. There's just piles and piles of settings, and I'm making use of humanization here and electricity, so I don't need to have too much variation between the 4 the quad tracked guitars that I have here. Humanization will take care of that for me. So I'm going to highlight one of the MIDI tracks here, and I use my keyboard. And you can see that it shows on the fretboard what I'm playing. Now I wanted to mention I had to switch my driver mode to a mode that plays through my laptop audio card versus my USB audio card so it can actually capture the audio. As a result of that, there is a delay from when I hit the notes on the keyboard until it's actually played. You can tell because I'm pretty sure my microphone is picking up the key on the keyboard, and then you can hear the actual note shortly thereafter. And here is my bass guitar. It's also using Contact. It's by a company called Scarby, and it's called Pre-Bass. A lot of options in here too. It's pretty cool, and then you can see the fretboard view, and you can see that. And here's a common synth I use by Native Instruments called FM8. And actually, I should show you a little bit here. You can see this keyboard here. That's kind of cool. It shows you what's being played. And then here's Superior Drummer by TuneTrack. This is my drums, of course, and this is pretty awesome software. Oops, let me actually select a drum MIDI track here. Now, I am the world's worst keyboard player. I'm not even going to try to pretend. and I don't use the keyboard for actually writing my music, meaning I don't actually capture the performance of me playing on the keyboard for my music. I may kind of play around with the keyboard to get general ideas, but I don't actually record the keyboard. So I write all my music in what's called the PRV, which is piano roll view. So let me select one of my guitar MIDI tracks here, hit Alt 3, this pulls up the PRV. This top half of the screen, here's the piano roll, this is my measures going left to right, and then here, this bottom half part of my screen, not quite half, but it's my controller view, so the velocity and any of the other controllers. So for a C-tuned guitar, this is the lowest C. Anything below it are key switches, and then there's also, I don't remember what the highest note is, but above that are also key switches. Key switches are things that allow you to change the functionality in the software. For example, I could flip between the articulation modes and whatnot, and there's some other various functions with that as well. So I'm just going to kind of piece something together here. Basic power chord you can hear. I kind of have a general idea of a song in my head. It's just something it's just an idea kind of floating around, and it's not really anything special. I may not even keep it. Do I want it longer? I'm going to change the tempo. I'm going to change this to 124. Okay, and let's just... Actually, no, let's go back to select. So here's the different tools, and they're pretty self-explanatory. So the Smart tool is kind of a combination of the various tools, and I'm using my F keys to flip between them, F5 through F10 here. So let's select those, move those. Uh, Actually a little faster than I'm thinking that I wanted it to play. Alright, so then I'm going to change my velocities here. Add some variation. And, oops, I want to go down here. I'm going to add the controller 2. And let's just get rid of the velocity now. And controller 2 is how it changes based on the articulation, kind of changes, allows it to morph between the different parts of the articulation. So muted, sustained, this is what this articulation mode I'm in. The lower the value, the more muted it is, and then the higher the value, the more sustained it is, or open it's played. So this is going to be a sustain, and these are going to be mutes down over here. And then these are going to be kind of, sustain here, and then some more mutes. Not quite exactly how I was envisioning it. Still not quite how I don't know what the heck I actually have envisioned in my head. It's just whatever's. Yeah, I don't know if that works necessarily. Let me copy and paste and just kind of get an idea. So copy, paste it at 4, paste it again at measure 5. I start at measure 3 for a number of reasons. One of them, the biggest one, is that electricity, the humanization part of electricity, requires a lead-in time. Otherwise, the very first note in the very first measure will not be played. Okay, so 3, 1, paste, paste, paste. Let's see how this is going to sound. Yeah, I don't know. I think I wanted to. Let me just undo all this stuff and go back to that single measure. There we go. Or maybe they make these really fast here. It's kind of getting. I don't know. Let me undo this and move that back. I have really some 30-second notes in here. Up to the velocity. Let's get these more natural kind of variations here. Back to the controller 2. Draw tool. Let's move this one back down. Copy paste again and get an idea what it's going to sound like with all 4 guitars playing it. Actually, I kind of like that. So I'm just gonna, yeah, maybe I'll add a little variation before I do that. Yeah, I think I have an idea. Yeah, I don't like those notes where they're played. I'm gonna change those. Yeah, I like that. I think that's pretty cool. So, just to get a real simple bass line going, here's what I'm going to do. Now I can select all the notes by just dragging like that. I'm copying it, so I'm not copying the controller data. And then I'm going to paste at 3-1. So the bass guitar is going to follow literally what the rhythm guitar is playing. So far I need to make modifications, of course, and delete the power chorded notes here. They're all just going to be single. And in my newer songs, I've been doing more of a variation with the bass guitar, so it's not strictly following the rhythm guitars. My older songs, I've kind of had more of a tendency to just follow exactly with the rhythm guitars. So now here's the bass guitar. And the bass guitar played with the rhythm guitars. And I just remembered something. Because of the humanization, I have to actually go in here and change the timing. So because what's happening here is that um, the rhythm guitars are playing a little bit too late. So I think I'll do like a -99 based on the tempo roughly. I don't know exactly the exact value I should be putting here, but I usually put like -90 something for roughly tempo of around 120-ish, and it seems to do the trick. So -99 should probably be fine. And now they should be more in sync. What happened to the bass there? Oh, I know what happens. So basically, because of this driver mode that I'm in, sometimes notes will drop out. It's not a very good driver mode. It's using my laptop audio card, like I think I mentioned. It's not very good. So I was going to try to add some drums here to kind of demonstrate that as well, but let's see here. Oh yeah, and I wanted to select all the drum tracks, so all four of them, and then go into PRV, because then I can click on any one of these. Okay, I mean that's good enough for now. Yeah, so because I'm using a drum mapping here, so you can, PRV looks different for the drums, but then you also have the standard PRV here, um, which I don't want, so I need to just kind of collapse that, because I want the controllers up a little bit more. Let's add some variation here. Let's add some cymbals. And what I typically do, and I'm not going to do this now, but with my drums, I humanize when they're played, because the Superior Drummer doesn't really have that option. It has other humanization, but it doesn't have like where like electricity will um, kind of add variations on when the notes are being played, which is pretty awesome. That's where I don't really usually worry about changing a lot of the variations too much across the four rhythm guitars, but here in the drums, I have to like slowly like alter. Okay, I have this kick play here, so right now I'll make this literally the snare and the kick are hitting at the same exact time. Well, I mean, no one's going to be perfect timing, so I would go through and I would alter it a little bit. Maybe I have the kick hit before the snare, maybe the next time, maybe after. It's just kind of vary it and whatnot. And it's a lot of manual effort, but it's well worth it to get more natural sounding drums. But I'm not going to do that. That's a lot of time involved in that. I'm just going to demonstrate some basic stuff. Oops, didn't want to do that. I'm going to go back here. I'm just going to do some copy pasting. Okay, copy paste that, adding variation here in the fourth measure. What happened to my controllers? Why do they go all the way down there? Maybe I'll put some toms here. I'm actually going to do alternating crashes. That should be good. Not going to be all too crazy or whatever. And here it is, 8 measures of whatever the fuck this is supposed to be. Yeah, and the bass dropped out again because of this wonderful driver fuck mode I'm in. So, and it's probably going to compound it, but here's my mastering software called Ozone by Isotope. It's pretty damn awesome, and I pieced this together myself. I put the equalizer in here, made all these adjustments, dynamics, and made those adjustments, and the maximizer, and now we get to hear what it's going to sound like. why. Why is it that same note? There's something in here that's odd. I don't know. Oh yeah, wait a second. Where's the MIDI data? I bet you I deleted some notes I wasn't supposed to when I was doing all that junk. But yeah, I mean, this driver mode does have a tendency to drop some stuff out, but I think I accidentally deleted something. Okay, it should be fixed now. So you get the idea. And I was going to demonstrate Awakened by Reality real quick, which is a project I wrote back in 2011. And my buddy Dan had put vocals to it based off of, well, he wrote the lyrics that were based off of a sci-fi novel I'm writing. And let's just pop this puppy open. All the tracks are mixed down or frozen. These are not frozen here, but I'll show you what I mean by frozen. So you can see here's the mixed down audio data, and you can see the track is actually frozen. It gives you the option to unfreeze the synth. So once that loads, there you go. So this is the actual audio data. So it's the synth is not actually playing here, meaning the software is not actually running. I mean, it was mixed down. It already played through and mixed down into this audio data. So I can unfreeze it. Oops, I didn't want to arm it. Let's unfreeze it, and then now the synth will load and it'll play live.
Once or twice there's been an alibi.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite tracks I've ever written. I think it's just pretty cool and really love what he did with the vocals on there. And this has been pretty much what I wanted to demonstrate how I'm writing music and whatnot. It's really fun. It's a lot of, involved steps and whatnot, but I enjoy it. I love it. I've been writing music since the 90s. So if there's anything you have, any questions or any comments or anything, let me know. If you're interested in this type of stuff yourself, I can help you get started and I can give you pointers and tips and whatever else, and just hit me up. And I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Later.